So the networks themselves in Hollywood, they are afraid of cancellation, and I really don't blame them. I mean, the insanity that goes on there day in and day again, I would be afraid too, but you can see that in headlines like this. NBC, it breaks its silence on the Golden Globes controversy. And look at this next statement here, acknowledging its role in necessary changes. Not that changes are necessary, not that changes will be coming about, but its role in necessary changes. You know, don't cancel us because we're not the problem. The Golden Globes were, but you know what? We're going to be the solution. This is the same behavior we saw from 100+ public relations firms as they went out and they went after the Golden Globes too, because they were afraid that their high-profile meal tickets, they might get canceled as well. You can see this in the letter that they wrote. They're going to claim to be part of the solution because they can't be part of the problem. We collectively and unequivocally agree that transformative change in your organization, again talking about the Golden Globes, and its historical practice is essential and entirely achievable. We want to be part of the solution. Now, make no mistake, the Golden Globes, for their part, they definitely have problems. And their problems, they revolve around two words that they love to utilize. They love to say they're diverse. They love to say they're inclusive. And yet, when you look at their practices, they had goose egg for black voters. That's right. They're so inclusive and they're so diverse that they didn't include black people whatsoever. The problem with this is, though, as you can see in many a statement, this was a widely known issue, and nobody for years was going to call this out until it got put on blast and it could not be ignored. Then every organization and their mother had to get involved. You see Time's Up getting involved. Again, they knew about this, but they didn't want to do anything about it. Why? Because they were getting back-patted by the same organizations, but now they're going to feed on the clout. The same thing goes for those Hollywood actors represented by that 100+ PR firms. Where were they over the last few years when this stuff, it was going on behind the scenes and everybody knew about it? Well, they were right up on the stage accepting their awards, of course. Now we see NBC. NBC has been putting this show on forever, too, so they know how that's made up behind the scenes. But now NBC, they need to separate themselves from it. And oh man, like I said, this stuff, it is beautiful. So hey there, do you find fine folks on this fine day? Now, when you and I are looking over this statement from NBC and seeing what else is added there, too, I want you to think about something, and I do want your opinion on this. What is NBC's objective or their end game? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to ride in the savior role? Are they trying to salvage the Golden Globes? Or are they trying to cut bait and dump this by saying, you know what, we did everything we could, but you know what, that thing, it's not salvageable in the end. Now, if you think that second outcome, it sounds a mite conspiratorial, well, let me present something to you. This is the number of Golden Globes TV viewers from 2000 to 2021, and I imagine you're noticing something right off the bat. I'm imagining you're noticing the high point. There's a 26.8 million high point, and then there's a low point. The low point, it comes in at 5,400,000 viewers, and that, it's in 2021. Now, I've seen a lot of people say that's because of the beer bug, that umbrella guy, and okay, I can buy that, but there's one problem with that scenario. You have more people stuck at home waiting for something to do. You have this come up, and you know what? People didn't tune in. Why? Because in my opinion, they're sick of Hollywood. Now remember, when NBC Universal looks at those numbers, they don't see viewership. They see people to advertise to. They specifically want 18 to 49-year-olds. They score over a 5 getting in that demographic. That's a pretty good advertisement clump. This time, they scored well under a 2. A 2, by the way, that would get you canceled by the Sci-Fi Network. And you know what? NBC Universal, they aren't paying Sci-Fi Network costs. Look at this here. So NBC Universal has long kept a tight grip on the annual Golden Globe Awards, one of Hollywood's most prized events. Maybe for Hollywood, but I don't get the feeling that viewers think the same thing. The award show has aired on NBC for 25 years, and in 2018, NBC Universal solidified its perch by renewing its TV rights deal with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association and Dick Clark Productions, which produces the Golden Globes telecast. NBC Universal accepted a staggering increase in fees, and it is a staggering number from one year to the next because the show had grown in prominence, becoming even more important to the network and its advertisers who struggled to engage viewers in a fractured TV landscape. NBC Universal agreed to pay the group of international journalists and Dick Clark Productions nearly $60 million a year through 2026 for the rights to televise Hollywood's nights at glitz and glamour, up from around $21 million a year in 2018. I mean, that is an insane amount of money to see increase. $60 million up from $21 million a year. Now, I'm going to show you that comment in just a second, but what if I were to tell you before that, well, the Golden Globes, they're not profitable anymore, because that's what a source is saying about it. The Golden Globes, they brought in $47.5 million in advertising revenue for NBC broadcast in 2020, down from a high water mark of $51.9 million in 2019. Now, they talk about the boost to shows like the Channel E, and yeah, you're going to get a boost in that, but how much money do you have to break even? And those 2021 numbers, I would say, well, not enough. That's going to be the answer, not enough. So here's the comments here. In an interview with the Times, NBC Universal Executive Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer Craig Robertson responded to criticism and said the network has spent the last 3 weeks working behind the scenes in collaboration with its two partners, the HFPA and Dick Clark Productions. Our perceived silence on this should not be equated with apathy or the lack of concern. We are taking these issues very seriously, and we also understand our role and the importance of our role in encouraging the HFPA to make what we deem to be necessary changes, and we are using that influence. Robertson said NBC Universal executives, including Susan Rovner and Frances Burnwick, began a series of meetings with the HFPA days after the February 28th award show. During multiple meetings, the NBC Universal delegation stressed the show's viability depends on the group's efforts to reform. They're saying you better change up or we're going to drop you like a bad habit. Amongst other things, they said that NBC Universal has asked the HFPA to recruit black and other diverse members and to also address questionable business practices detailed in the Times article, including the organization's use of its funds. The Times investigation revealed the organization pays members to watch movies, participate in a slew of committee, and perform Globes-related tasks, including writing articles for the group's website. Now, interestingly enough, NBC has dropped the Golden Globes before. They dropped them back in 1968 after the FCC found that the awards broadcast, quote, substantially misleads the public as to how winners were chosen and the procedures followed in choosing them. That was back when. That was a little bit of blowback, and these days, when you can be canceled and you can be canceled with impunity, yeah, I wonder what it would take to drop them. If they were profitable, that might be a harder question to answer, but now, man, I could see them dropping them like a bad habit. That's funny, too, because we're told that this stuff, it matters. Award shows, they matter so much. Yeah, they only matter when, right? But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff, and as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work, and if you want to help out the channel, there are links in the description. I'm going to end here. I appreciate you, though. You make this stuff work. They forgot it. Nobody else should. Thank you.